My name is Tanner Wheadon, and I'm a student majoring in technology management here at Utah Valley University. And as part of my training to become a University Innovation Fellow last year, I had the great opportunity to go to the Stanford D School and to the Google Garage to learn about innovation. And I was amazed as I spent time in these physical spaces, how they, there was different things about them that really facilitated innovation well. I loved there was, whiteboard walls and whiteboard tables, and there was all kinds of fancy rolling furniture, and there was all kinds of equipment for rapid prototyping. And I thought this was so awesome. Can you scroll through the next 2 slides, Will? Yeah, so that was when I went through the training. Then go to the next slide. And so when I got back from my training, I thought, this is such a great thing, and I think we need to have something like this on our campus. So I started lobbying on our campus, working with different faculty and administration to make this innovation lab a reality at our university. But I ran into some problems. So Will, can you click to the next screen, and there's a few little animations, just load those, and then I'll talk about them. So at Utah Valley University, we are now the largest institution in the state of Utah. And 5 years ago, we only had 20,000 students at our university, but now we have 32,000 students at our university, and in the next 5 years, we're supposed to have 40,000. Wow. So physical space, it's really hard to come by at our university. So I started working with them, but they said, okay, this innovation lab sounds like a great thing, but we're so constrained by the amount of space that we have. Maybe we should just put this innovation lab on a 5 to 7 year plan. Now, I don't know how 5 to 7 year plans work at your universities, but typically that means that it's put on the back burner and other things are going to come up and it's never going to happen. So I started thinking about, okay, maybe I can't have a physical space to teach these classes, but what do I really need? If I want to teach students about design thinking, what's the minimum viable product? What are the bare essentials that I need? So Will, can you just scroll through to the next slide? Yeah, sorry, there's a few little animations, but if you go to the next one and then just click 3 times. Perfect. So basically what I came up with is the bare essentials that I really need to teach students about design thinking at my university is Sharpies, Post-it notes, and rapid prototyping supplies. All those other things at these sexy innovation spaces are awesome and they facilitate innovation, but what do I really need if I don't have access to that type of funding or space? And so what I did, if you scroll through to the next slide, Will. So what I did was I had the college purchase a mobile industrial rack, much like the ones that you'll see at the Stanford D School and at the Google Garage. And we filled it with rapid prototyping supplies. So the rack itself, I think, was around $500. And then we supplied the rack with all those different supplies for around $200. So now this is our mobile maker space. So instead of having students come to an innovation lab or to the D School like Leticia talked about, we actually wheel this mobile prototyping cart all over campus to teach students about design thinking. So we come to them. And so like many of us, some of us will face issues on our campus with marketing, right? We want people to come to our pop-ups, but the language that we use will attract different audiences. So if I say that I'm holding an entrepreneurship event, then I'm going to get entrepreneurs coming. If I say I'm holding a creativity event, I might get some artists, sculptors, dancers to come to that. If I say that I'm holding an innovation workshop, I might get tech and engineering. But how do I reach students on campus who could greatly benefit from design thinking, but don't know what it is, and they don't know how much it can benefit what they're doing already? So what I decided to do is I decided to look at the general education courses that are offered at our university. And what I found out was that every student, no matter what discipline they enter, is required to take 3 science courses. And so when they pick their 3rd science credit, they have a list that looks like this. So Will, can you click over one? So this is the list of classes that they're able to take. And then could you click one more time? And at the very bottom of the list, there's this class called Tech 1010. And in this class, I talked to the department chair and I asked them how the class works. And they said that they highlight different technologies and different industries every week for the full semester. And then she also explained that there's 2 weeks throughout the semester that are open so that the teacher can teach, something that they're passionate about or whatever industry they were in, and they're able to do whatever they want with those 2 weeks. And the students aren't necessarily graded on those 2 weeks of the curriculum. So what I worked with the department chair to do is I designed 2 weeks of design thinking curriculum, and we put it into the technology 1010 course in those 2 weeks. So the way that that works is we have the students come in and we give them an intro to the process. We have them go out into the university and observe people and identify problems and opportunities. And then throughout the next few days of the course, they go through the process, and on the last day, they present their findings to the class. And we found that it's been extremely engaging in our pilot course. So in the next few months, we're going to have a teacher training. So all teachers who teach Technology 1010 are all going to meet together, and we're going to put them through the curriculum so that they understand what it is that they're going to be teaching. And then we're going to give them access to the curriculum that I've designed, and give them access to this mobile industrial prototyping cart so that they can teach this during their Tech 1010 class. And it reaches 1,500 students a year, and these students are from all disciplines. So that's the part that we like about it the most, is that we really do have great diversity in these classes. And so I just encourage you guys that if you are struggling to have a physical space, or you struggle to have funding and you want to get an innovation lab, prove your concept first. I would say get an industrial rack and just start teaching people, prove your concept. And we found that through using this rack to teach our students, that 5 to 7 year plan looks more like a 3-year plan, and that they're much more likely to adopt an innovation lab in 3 years instead of 5 to 7. And so then the other thing that I encourage you is that as you market your pop-up lab, look at existing resources, see what organizations or clubs or classes are available, and see if you can take your pop-up class and use that as a channel to get to them. We found it to be very successful, and not only are we teaching it in Tech 1010, but we found that there's entrepreneurship classes that have asked us to come in for different modules, and technology classes. And then it's also become when teachers are at conferences and they're absent and they need someone to substitute their class, they'll have us wheel our cart in, and we'll have 1 to 3 days of design thinking while that teacher is gone. So it's been this one simple $700 cart has been a great way for us to engage our students. We can definitely share the list. But as far as what's in that cart, it goes anywhere from cardboard, paper clips, tape, popsicle sticks, rubber bands. So just anything that can help students make their ideas tangible. I saw a comment in there that talked about having like a 3D printer on a mobile cart. I think that's great. The only thing to consider with that is how many students are able to use a 3D printer to effectively prototype. So at least in our case, we didn't need that because we do have 3D printing labs, but this was more of an innovation sandbox type, just get people playing and making their ideas tangible, rather than making really sophisticated or designed prototypes. So we have a partnership with Grainger. And so the mobile rack that I had, I think typically runs online for about $900. But because my university has a partnership with them, we got it for under $500. And then, a lot of people, we go to the warehouse and everyone's throwing away cardboard, and most different departments that we work with have their own supply rooms and whatnot. So they threw supplies towards us, but really in under $700, we were able to create ours. I think for ours, we've put our pop-up into a class to attract students so that then we can get them to engage in more activities outside of the classroom. We found that when we tried to just engage people in activities outside the classroom, they were like, no, I have homework or I have work. But when we showed them how engaging it was in class, that really became our marketing tool so that we could engage in more conversation outside of the class. So we used the class because they couldn't run away, and they got course credit, or they got attendance for attending the class, and that way they had to be there to get their points, and that's how we kind of hooked them. So